Yeah, 30-minute levels in this opening 5K event. The levels will be bumped up to 40 minutes, starting with event number 2, which is, that's the noise you guys hear in the background of this final table playing out. Event number 2 is underway.
In this video for PokerNews.com, at the final table of a $5,000 buy-in tournament that took place at the PokerGo Cup recently in Las Vegas in the PokerGo studio, we are playing three-handed. Ioli is the chip leader. He opts to limp the 10-5 of spades from the small blind into David Peters' big blind. David has about 55 big blinds. This is a spot where Ioli should be very aggressive with a lot of his junky suited hands, but limping is certainly fine too. You may be surprised to see David not raise with an ace. An ace is almost always good heads up. The problem though is that he really does not want to make the pot big, because we see Daniel sitting here with about 30 big blinds, and Peters really does not want to go broke before him. So this is a spot where Peters should be very cautious before the flop in general. So, limp, check. Let's go to the flop.
You might have heard tournament director Paul Campbell, kicking off the action, getting the cards in the air. That final table will be live streamed tomorrow. They're going to put Remco and I back in the icebox. They're going to bring out the A-team.
Or they're going to move the A-team to the icebox, Donnie. However way you look at it.
It probably depends how we do today. I don't think I'm setting the bar too high, but, maybe it's a trout. I don't know.
The flop comes ace of hearts, 4 of spades, 2 of spades. David Peters has top pair and a gut shot. That's pretty good. Ioli has a gut shot and a flush draw. That's pretty good. Ioli goes for a 1 big blind bet, and David Peters just calls. Again, you would be surprised to see David Peters calling with a hand that's very good, like top pair. But this is a spot where if he raises and gets called or re-raised, he's going to be against a decently strong made hand, which beats ace-5 a lot of the time, or a high equity draw, which has a lot of equity. So this is a spot where Peters is mainly concerned with keeping Ioli in with all of his hands that are drawing thin or dead, like Jack-9 offsuit or something like that, because those hands may feel inclined to continue bluffing on the turn, and if you raise, they're just easily going to fold. So this is a spot where you want to minimize your losses against the better hands that are never going to fold, while also giving yourself the opportunity to extract value from a whole lot of unpaired hands. So, facing the bet, David Peters just calls. Let's head to the turn.
Meanwhile, Peters with top pair looking to get some chips back here, and the 3 on the turn is going to give both players a straight. Ioli completely free-rolling here, having 2 spades. Peters, however, holding the ace of spades, removing one of his outs. Ioli checks on the turn. We could see this pot really balloon if Peters decides to bet, Donnie. Would not be strange to see Ioli check raise here, given the fact that he's already hit a straight and he's got the spades to go along with it.
Here comes D. Peters, 300K, 75% pot.
What sizing would you like to see from Ioli here, Donnie?
I mean, he can probably safely check call. I mean, I wouldn't hate a check raise as well, but he might just want to, let David Peters kind of hang himself a little bit more. Of course, you can also take a different line. He's going to just call, but you could take a different line given the fact that you did check raise.
The turn is the 3 of diamonds, giving both players a straight. Ioli, tricky, goes for the check, which is a play that makes some sense, because if you think about it, in this scenario, while Ioli could have a lot of 5s, so could Peters, but also if Peters called the small flop bet with any sort of backdoor flush draw or unpaired hand, he's going to feel very inclined to try to bluff on this turn. So I don't mind the check. Ioli does go for the check. David Peters, in position, definitely needs to bet, because he wants to make the pot big. And if it goes check on the turn, it's going to be very hard to make the pot gigantic on the river. So Peters does go for a chunky bet. 300,000 into the 400,000 pot. Back to Ioli, he decides to just call, because at this point he wants to keep David Peters in with all of his junk, even though they both have straights. Let's head to the river.
Against David Peters recently? Oh, okay.
5 on the river, puts a chop on the board, but Donnie, the lone 6 now, making a straight. If someone wants to really take a big stab. This could be interesting.
The river is the very interesting 5 because now both players are playing the board. Ioli checks. What I want to know is, what do you think David Peters is going to do in this scenario? Do you think he's going to check it back? Bet 500,000, bet 1 million, or bet 2 million? Take a second, think about it, and write in the comment section down below. Actually go down there and do it. What you think David Peters is going to do. And while you're down there, make sure you click the like and subscribe button.
It is going to be interesting to see if either player wants to go for this one.
My immediate thought when I see this river card is an overbet is what's going to be necessary here to take this pot away.
Yeah, I'm not so sure an overbet is fully needed. Not that I'm ruling it out, but I think 600, starting there and going up from there. Ioli does check. So now if you're David Peters, it's going to be interesting if he has any thought going through his mind. Not that we would know, but if I bet here, am I going to get check raised again? Because that's what happened to me before. But listen, David
2 million.
Peters
There it is.
Not a man to back down. 2 million.
I felt it, I felt the overbet coming. I knew it.
And Ioli he knows it. Like, he's just like, really, this guy. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I checked. Why did I check? I should have just bet.
Such a stupid river.
After not a whole lot of thought, David Peters puts in a 2 million chip bet, 2 times the size of the pot. This is a savage play because it's going to be really difficult for Ioli to have a random 6. But if you consider a lot of the logical bluffs for David Peters on the turn, a lot of them will contain a 6. I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but did you know David Peters is actually the newest coach at pokercoaching.com, my poker training site. I am excited to have this brand new course available from him at pokercoaching.com. We'll put links down there in the description below. If you want to learn from the absolute crusher of high stakes poker, David Peters, well, check it out at pokercoaching.com right now. He goes for the 2 million bet. He puts Ioli in a miserable spot with his entire range. Let's see if Ioli can find the call for the chop.
Ioli has 2 thoughts. He's like, David Peters is messing with me, or David Peters is messing with me. One of those means he's trying to get him off a split pot. One of them means I'm getting taken to Value Town right now, and he's going to show me a 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's never a comfortable spot when you're forced with, where you're at best you're chopping. Right. Like that. It just stinks.
Like, you're investing $2 million to win 500K.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's just very uncomfortable when you're calling to, again, at best chop, when people aren't sizing it like D. Peters is sizing this, right? He's sizing this 2x pot, so it's just like, really? Like, this just seems so silly.
Everyone watching this right now has been in the situation where if you call, they show you a 6. If you fold, they show you the chop. That's exactly what this spot feels like.
Also rather interesting that, Ioli, immediately when D. Peters said 2 million, like you can tell he's not raising. Like, he immediately kind of took the glasses off. He said, really? Like, this is so stupid, this river, what is this? He's kind of like squirming in his chair. So at least he's giving off that it's call or fold, which probably makes D. Peters feel pretty good that he's probably not going to lose the pot if he gets called, right?
David Peters, as always, stoic with the slow blink whenever he puts the pressure on his opponent. And Mark Ioli.
You see what I have later. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
That's the laugh and smile of a man in pain.
What do you have? Let's laugh right now.
I had 10-5 of spades. It's like, are you kidding me? What a ridiculous.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. And to check call, turn, take the check call line on the turn too. Jeez Louise.
After a lot of thought, Ioli looks like he's about to throw up. He decides to make the fold, giving David Peters a very, very nice pot. Amazing play by David. This is a pot that ends up getting chopped a ton of the time on the turn, yet somehow David Peters finds a way to not get half the pot, but all of it. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, make sure you check out David Peters' new course at pokercoaching.com, and I'll talk to you next time.